Path of Exile is a complicated game. It has systems upon systems upon systems upon, guess what? Even more systems. But the game is so fun that it's honestly worth trying it out and learning just because of how good and fulfilling the experience is. This is why in this series of videos I will be showing you all the things that I, as a new player, am learning, as I've never played this game and have no idea how it works, so we can both learn together the things that most veteran players don't really understand. We don't understand. Well, let's go from 0 to Exile. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Go to my Ko-Fi if you want to support my content. Go to my Twitch to watch me live, and let's get into it. Let's talk about evasion. Right now, I'm at 88% evasion. Now, this doesn't mean that 88% of the time I'm actually gonna evade, but instead it's a system where a chance for the enemy to attack you will be subtracted from your evasion, and this will generate a hit or an evade. And there's also this thing called entropy, that the more you get attacked, essentially, the more possibilities you get of getting hits. Now, it's way more complicated than that, but that's essentially it. The more you get attacked, the less you can evade, and the more evasion you have, the more probability you have of actually evading an attack. But also, if the enemy has a lot of accuracy, the evasion will be less useful. That being said, right now I'm at 88 evasion, and I, most of the time, do indeed evade. It's very hard for me to actually get hit. It ends up being very powerful. And of course, there's also the Acrobatics passive, which we're going to talk about today, which makes it so you can evade all hits, but it gives you 70% less evasion rating. Now, 70% less evasion rating is a lot. Is it really worth it to evade all hits? Well, let's go through a few of the things you actually evade. First of all, most of the time in maps at least, and even in bosses, 90% of the attacks you can actually evade. For example, right now I'm going to do a ritual, and you're going to see that most of the things I'm going to evade. And even very specific explosions that you would think you wouldn't actually evade, do get evaded. Now, these little blobs that you can see here actually do hit you regardless of your evasion. I've been sitting here, just getting hit by this all the time. You see that the guy here is actually not hitting me at all, but these little blobs are hitting me. But if we go and we actually get the passive Acrobatics, technically we should be able to actually dodge this, as it is a hit that normally wouldn't be available to evade. This time it should indeed be available to evade. Let's go and try it. See there, I did not get a hit. This is actually working. No, sometimes you get hit because obviously my my evasion is way lower now, but most of the time I don't actually get hit, just like you see right there. Right? This is actually very useful because a lot of the time, specifically in maps, the thing that really kills me a lot is that types of attack. That's little balls on the floor that explode, or those little balls that surface and start chasing you. So it's pretty nice for those, because sometimes you can't really see them. Another thing you can use this Acrobatics form is for effects on death. For example, Battle Pins, monsters release deadly volatiles on death. This is when the bosses explode, or when they leave like little pools of damage in the ground. This will be able to be evaded if you indeed have Acrobatics on. Otherwise, it will not be able to be done. You saw that right there, that attack was not indeed done towards me. This is very useful, I think, for things like Ultimatum, or honestly many maps, because whenever you're doing a map and there's so much things in the actual screen and the things that you're not going to be able to see most of the time, it's nice to have a reassurance that you will not get one-shot by something you cannot see. So if that's a problem you're getting a lot of the time, this might actually not be a bad thing to try out. But of course, now I'm at 66% evasion only, compared to the 88 I was at before. This is actually not bad at all. This is actually pretty good. But honestly, in maps, it seems like it's way better to not have Acrobatics, as most of the time, you're not really gonna need this. And if you see that there's an attack like that, you can just roll through it and you'll not get hit. Well, so is it really worth investing so much evasion and sacrificing so much evasion just so you don't press the roll button? It's definitely your choice. It is a playstyle type of thing, you know? If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But personally, for me, I don't really see that much of the point. Now, I have went to one of the bosses of the story just to show up how different Acrobatics interacts with different attacks. We're going to go through every attack and see whether it can be evaded with acrobatics and without acrobatics. First, we're going to go for the non-acrobatic version of it, and then we're going to see if with acrobatics it will be evaded or not. Of course, there are many other bosses, and this will be, you know, different for every one of them. But overall, this should give you an idea of how the attacks are working. For example, right now we're in non-acrobatics, and you can see that all the auto attacks are indeed being evaded regardless. Now, here's the first attack. That one, we did get hit by it because we don't have acrobatics. And let's see here now the attack when acrobatics, the sword attack, the sword charge attack. Here we go, here it comes. And you can see with acrobatics, it can be evaded, unlike the other version. And here you can see the AoE attack hitting us with no acrobatics, the only way. Now we're gonna see the AoE attack that forms from the sky, whether it can be evaded with acrobatics. And you can see that it actually can, something you could not do beforehand. Now, there are certain attacks that work for nothing because of how their nature is. For example, fire attacks, specific dots that continuously are there. Something like this little fog that is just doing damage over and over again, regardless of whether you have acrobatics or not, will get hit. So this is something very important to consider whenever you're choosing which one to go for. Now you're gonna see that one of the attacks that should not be something that you can evade, because it kind of works like the mist, will be evaded. This breath attack indeed has been evaded mostly, and the next attack here will indeed not be evaded, unlike the other one, just because it's a big attack there. For next attack, we have the big attack from the sky that comes in, those little icicles. Those indeed are evadable even with no acrobatics. No need to see how it will work with acrobatics, is it? Now let's see with acrobatics, can we dodge this attack? Indeed we can. We evade it, even though with non-acrobatics we couldn't do it. So in total we have the sword attack that was only be able to evade it with acrobatics. Same thing for the AoE sky attack, and then the floor ice attack also could only be done with acrobatics, but that's about it. Everything else could be evaded without acrobatics. Auto attack, it could be evaded without acrobatics. Icicle from the sky could be evaded without acrobatic. Breath could be evaded without acrobatics, and the mist couldn't be evaded by anything. Well, it really depends on what you rather. For me, I think it's way better to just evade, not having to sacrifice as much for acrobatics at one point, and all the, you know, and all the amount of evasion that I have to sacrifice in order to get this. But that's because I'm good at dodging the sword attack, I'm good at dodging the AoE sky attack, and I'm good at dodging the floor ice attack. If you're having issues or getting one shot by this, acrobatics might be a good idea. For example, right now, I'm gonna go for breach boss very soon, and honestly going for acrobatics might be a good idea because there's not that many attacks, but the only ones that do attack you will be heavily affected by acrobatics, some AoEs and some other stuff, and maybe some of them will actually not work, but testing that out, there's really no reason not to try it, because, well, if you're getting hit by those, you're probably gonna get one shot anyways, and you're definitely not gonna be able to evade them regardless. So testing this out on bosses, I think it's a very good idea. For maps, I think it's a 50-50 on what you would rather, but for bosses, I feel like acrobatics might be something that is very nice to have, because most likely you will not die to any of these ones anyways. So I think it's a relevant thing to consider for your boss. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Go to my Ko-Fi if you want to support my content. Go to my Twitch to watch me live. Go to my YouTube. Well, I guess you're in my YouTube. Subscribe to YouTube. There you go. That's way better. And see you around. Bye.